All right, welcome to your sustainable fishing focus area key concepts video. There is so much to know about sustainable fishing, and you've probably done lots of research already, but I just want to touch on a couple of things that you absolutely need to know for this project. So, when it comes to sustainable fishing, one of the things that we need to think about is the effects of these organisms missing from the food chain. So if we have an organism that we are completely driving down, like to very low numbers, or if we are causing extinction to these organisms, part of the ecological impact is going to be those things, those animals missing from their food chain. So the first thing that you need to think about is the food web and how this can affect ecologically the other organisms in the food web. Okay. But there are obviously, other than the food web destruction, which can be terrible and detrimental for the entire ecosystem, but there are other environmental consequences of fishing practices. So not only are we reducing the amount of fish there, but we are destroying habitats. Okay, so habitat destruction happens. We also have lost fishing gear that is just waste that is in the ocean, contributing to that amount of plastic that we have in the ocean. And then we also have the problem of bycatch, okay, where we are catching things that we are not supposed to be catching, and it results in the death of those organisms, which therefore affects the food chain as well. So, one of the bigger problems that we're facing, and all of this is really key and really important, but one of the problems that we have is seafloor trawling. Now, this is when the equipment that we use to catch fish is pulled across the seafloor to catch those bottom dwelling fish. And I wanted to read this statement to you, and you can find more information here on this environmentalscience.org website. But it says oyster reefs, for example, have been decimated in many places from trawling. Without these important filter feeders, coastal waters can suffer from eutrophication, which in which there are too many nutrients in the water. So that's kind of crazy, right? Like we want nutrients in the water, but without these filter feeders, we'll have too much. Okay. So what does this do? This in turn causes harmful algal blooms that can cause widespread die offs of marine life. So, when you're thinking about why it's important for your focus area to have this effect on the ecosystem if it is not regulated, something that is kind of harming to it is going to be too many nutrients. So, that's something that you can also think about. Okay. If we have seafloor trawling, if it's not going away, and it results in too many nutrients in the water, how can we get these nutrients out? So that's just a question for you to think about. I also wanted to show you this this graph or this picture here that is calling trawling a carbon issue as well. So it doesn't only wreck ecosystems; it releases as much carbon as air travel. Okay, so air travel is a form of transportation, obviously. Transportation is one of the largest impacts of carbon in our atmosphere. And so, why do we have so much carbon that's released? We have marine sediments. They are one of the world's largest carbon sinks, as you guys discovered in your carbon cycle workshop. And because we have carbon trapped in here, when we're destroying these environments, we are releasing that carbon back into the atmosphere. Okay, so that is something to think about that you might not have thought about before.